Those guys, they played well. They kicked our ass, and it's a credit to them. Lamar beat us. He hammered us with his arm. He threw the ball extremely well. He ran when he needed to, and we did not handle it well. Our energy was good, which is crazy. You come out of a game like that and you look at the score. Our energy was good, but our detail and discipline, which has been so good over the last 4 or 5 weeks, was not good enough. So, self-induced. That was a combination of a lot of different things, And just like we win as a team, we lose as a team, and that was one of those.
And that was Dan Campbell after yesterday's loss to the Baltimore Ravens, and boy, was it ever. 38-6. Game was over really quickly, and I think there are some concerns. But again, from where I sit, Braylon Edwards, I just don't think that you can appropriately make a determination on who this Detroit Lions team is without seeing how they react to this loss. If you never want to let one game beat you twice. If they come out flat on Monday Night Football and lose to the Raiders, well, then this was a bad loss, and I think there's some serious question marks about where this season goes from here. But if you come out next week and you beat the Las Vegas Raiders and go to the bye with a 6-2 record, with losing a game against Baltimore on the road, which 99.9% of Lions fans, I think, said would happen when the schedule came out, well, then I think you're just doing okay. And if you look at Baltimore, Bray, you wouldn't see Baltimore to the Super Bowl. And I think there's a lot of Lions fans that would take that. A Lions-Ravens Super Bowl, because that means you're there.
Look, at the end of the day, they're 5-2. The Detroit Lions right now in top of their division, and they're 5-2. They ran against a juggernaut. They caught them at the right time. They kicked their ass. Yes, that game's over. You got 10 games left against a very favorable schedule. I like what Dan Campbell said. I like how he put him in the mindset. He said, listen, our energy was still great. You know why the energy was still great? It's because, look, you understand that you had some players missing. It's kind of like Kansas City's energy. When Kansas City lost to the Detroit Lions, they didn't panic. Obviously, it was the discrepancy in the score, but a loss is a loss. You didn't get two for the way they lost yesterday. Kansas City said, hey, let's not panic. We're still good. We still got what's in front of us. We'll get some players back. And then once we get some players back, we'll start to understand who we really are, and we'll start to make some moves. Look at Kansas City now. That's going to be the Detroit Lions. You get CJ GJ back. You'll get to start using Jamison Williams in the right way. You'll get David Montgomery back, which will help you use Jahmyr Gibbs finally in the right way. Good to see him in the end zone. No matter when he came, he still got an end zone finally. So just take it as a loss. But look in the mirror, though. Like, this is a good time to look in the mirror. Are you doing everything you're supposed to be doing? Are you doing some extra work? Are you doing extra film study? Are you seeing things and not bringing it up to the coach? Or as a coach, are you seeing a player not do things and you're not bringing it up because you're like, we're 5-1, we'll figure that out. This is a great point, and this is a great team to come up against the Raiders, who aren't playing their particularly best football that they played over the last 5 years. So go back to the film, go back to the drawing board. This team is fine. They got their ass whooped, but Ryan, there's one game to a team that might be in the Super Bowl at the end.
Yeah, it's a loss that we all had penciled in at the beginning of the year. We all changed our mind because, let's face it, we're all Lion fans. And we thought, this is a different Lions team. They're going to win this game. Well, they ran into a juggernaut.
Yes.
And thank God Baltimore didn't have enough time to really prep for this game, because we all thought they were going to catch him at the right time coming home from London. But John Harbaugh, let's just call this a Harbaugh weekend.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh on Saturday, John Harbaugh on Sunday. Lamar Jackson, I know, Ryan, you brought up the noodle arm. Well, I brought up the noodle arm of Jared Goff, that he can't really throw against the wind or whatever like that. But Lamar Jackson threw for over 300 yards. I just want to make that point.
Man.
At one point, it was 28-0 in the first half. And Fox put up a stat. The last time the Lions were down this many points in the first half, you go back to 1991 against the Washington Redskins. And what happened at the end of that year?
NFC Championship.
They won their playoff game and faced those same Redskins at RFK Stadium. Got their butts whipped there too, but they made it to the NFC Championship game. So that kind of gave me a little glimmer of hope when I saw that stat.
Hey, Maz, what do you think the phone call conversation was between John and Jim Saturday morning? Because whatever the hell that was said between those two, oh, my God. Like, whatever was said, and maybe Jack, maybe he called in on three-way, but whatever was said by those talk about Saturday morning really got those teams going. Yeah, I mean, it's a butt woman, but you know what? It's good, and this isn't college where you lose early and you're like, oh, it's over. So this is the NFL where you lose early. Now you can reassess some things. Now, sometimes Sometimes butt whoopers are good, right? Because now maybe I thought I was really doing this, and I got to watch the film a little more detailed. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of tipping my route, so I'm tipping my, where I'm throwing the ball, and my footwork isn't as good. This is a good butt whoop. It's not a loss. It's not a loss, because sometimes even in a close loss, you still might gloss over things. But when you get your butt handed to you, like they just did on the road, now you got to go look in that mirror, that man in the mirror. You got to be honest with yourself. Hey, J-Mo, I'm in the mirror, damn, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I working on my catching drills the right way? Am I watching my film? If I'm the offensive line, hey, am I making sure that I'm chipping at the right time? And I'm making sure that I'm really getting my left foot in the ground as I go left and go up the field. So it's a good time to look in the mirror and just adjust some things. Sometimes these things happen and they're necessary. I told you, 49-3, the Patriots beat the hell out of us, and we thought it was over. We ended up getting them back in the playoffs. We beat them in the semifinals. So these things happen sometimes.
Bray, would you look at the film? If you're Dan Campbell, would you sit there today and look at the film?
Damn right I would.
You would?
Yeah. If I'm Dan Campbell, I'm looking at the film.
Oh, yeah.
Coaches are looking at it, not the players, because I don't want to look at it as players and a coaching staff. Because when you sit in those situations, a lot of times, you want the player to do on his own. Like you want to, because it's a lot of blame. It's a lot of blame to point around. Sometimes the back and forth won't be good in the team meeting room. Sometimes you want the players to do it on their own and look themselves in mirrors. But the coaches, they damn sure better look at that film so that they don't get put in that situation again.
Guys, let me tell you about Woodward Nights. Booner and Broder team up for some high-level sports talk every night, every weeknight. Welcome to Woodward Nights, featuring Booner and Broder, two of Detroit's newest up-and-coming sports personalities. Weekdays, 8 to 10 p.m. Join Booner and Broder every single night to hear some of Detroit's hottest takes on WSN's YouTube channel. Bray, you mentioned Jameson Williams. If you look at the stat sheet, 6 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards for zeros all across the board. He is a guy that is... There's a lot of Detroit Lions fans expect a lot from him.
Yeah.
I am not sitting here ready to write this kid off yet at all. But I think looking at a stat line like that, seeing David Montgomery out, there are a lot of people that will start to write him off. Or at least the conversation has gone from, oh, this is 100% sure thing, to at least maybe an 80% sure thing now. Where are you on Jameson Williams, and do people need to walk back from the ledge when it comes to Jameson Williams? Or do you believe there's some real concern here?
I don't think people. How do I say this? This damn earpiece in. I'm somewhere in the middle. But what I will say is people don't need to blame Jameson Williams. Let me start there. Jameson Williams is 22 years old when he was drafted. He was 20, had a knee injury. He's a young man. I looked at where I was at 20. At 20 years old, I still was at University of Michigan trying to figure it out. I'd be damned if I was 20, torn ACL, and drafted into the NFL a little bit later at 21 and still trying to figure it out. And then you have the gambling thing. So I think he's put a lot on his mental, and a lot has happened to him in the space of him still being young, him still being a kid. And, he had to sit out all last year kind of by himself. It's a very lonely place for a guy. And then he had to sit out again with the gambling thing. So he had to sit out again. So it is a very interesting place. Now on the football field, hey, you guys drafted him. You guys drafted Jameson Williams with the idea of what he was going to be and how you were going to implement him. I don't think they've done a good enough job trying to implement him into the system from the start of it. Ben Johnson's second-year offensive coordinator last year was his first year. You knew at some point Jameson Williams was going to be the wide receiver. You knew that he was going to be the wide receiver for this type of offense. I don't think he's done a good enough job of getting a role for Jameson Williams within his offense. I think a lot, they just try to place him out there and hope it works. Hey, let's put him out there and let's try to run the deep over that he ran in Alabama a lot. It's the only pass I see them throwing to him, and then maybe a hitch here or there. You got to get the guy going. You got to get the guy going with some easy stuff, like some hitches, some slants. Get him going. Get him a place in the field in the offense. It just seems like for him, he's a plant in the offense. Like everything else, Sam Laporta and how they use Sam Laporta, what they're trying to do with David Montgomery in the running game, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have, even with Josh Reynolds, they're route runners. They're really good route runners. It just doesn't seem like they have an actual fit or idea of what they want to do with Jameson Williams.
Listen, Bray, you've hit it all on the head there. You're a wide receiver. You're an all-pro wide receiver, number 3 pick in the draft. They don't trust him. Nope. Because he drops the ball. Now, we don't see him in practice. I don't know how many drops he has in practice. But when he said, when he was sitting out and on the suspension.
Yeah.
He was catching 100 balls out of the jugs machine. Well, maybe he should have caught 300. I don't know. He's not a trustworthy target. Now,
Yeah.
I'm with you. You got to know. You got to let him go out there and find out. And maybe this Raider team is the team you do it against. Maybe you go out there and you design 10 different plays for him. And let's see what he has. Because right now, I got my qualms. I've got my questions. Because he drops 70% so far of the passes that have been thrown to him.
Yeah, Maz, I'm 100% with you. And look at it right here. With Jameson Williams, at the end of the day, you drafted him 12th overall. You moved up 20 picks to draft him 12 overall. No matter what happened with the ACL or what happened with the gambling, you were sure of the talent when you moved up to get him at 12th overall. So what you got to do, you got to be like the Kansas City Chiefs, or you got to be like these teams. They move off of players if it's not there. So you got to start giving him a situation where, look, we're going to flood him with passes, and now you're coming up against a part of your schedule where you're playing some teams outside of the next two. You can really, really, really use him and see what he's got. I'm telling you, I would start targeting him 7-8 times and really, really get him some passes out there. Let me see what you can do. Because if he can make those plays, then we know that our investment was right a year ago in the draft, and now we can start to formulate a plan and use it. But if we do that and we consistently see what? We consistently see him dropping pass, shy away from the moment, or be too young for it and can't handle it. Look, I love you as a person. I appreciate you being drafted by a Detroit Lions, but maybe you will have to move on from him after the season. But if you don't give him a chance to show you that, if you give him 2 plays here and then you don't like him and then he doesn't get another one until next game, or he doesn't get another one to the third game, then you're just never going to know. See what he is now. Because if he's not that, then you can move off of him next year as opposed to continuing to waste time.
Without David Montgomery in the lineup yesterday and without Marvin Jones in the lineup yesterday, I thought Jameson Williams would have a pretty decent day, or at least a moment in that game. And to have 6 targets and come up with Zatsky was a little concerning for me. And again, I'm not ready to write this kid off yet. But what the Detroit Lions have to do is they have to figure it out if this guy is the real deal or if he's Trey Lance. Sometimes you just make a mistake. Okay?
Yeah.
The Lions traded up to number 12 to get Jameson Williams. The San Francisco 49ers traded 3 future first-round picks, traded up to get Trey Lance. It was a big mistake, and they moved off of him. What the Detroit Lions have to do is decide, is this a mistake or is this not, before it's too far gone and nobody wants him and you can't get anything for him. I don't think you're there yet, but I agree with you, Bray. They got to come up with something for number 9 to see what this kid can do.